Welcome to the Mark and Me podcast.
Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you. What I do with every guest that comes on the podcast is I'm always intrigued when you were growing up, that first album you bought with your pocket money or that was given to you by a friend or a family member that made you fall in love with music.
Yeah. My first one I bought from my pocket money. I got, which in that time it was 50 kronor, Swedish kronor, which is equivalent to 4 quids.
Not a lot of money.
But at the time the vinyl album was quite much cheaper. So my first one was, for those about rock, AC/DC.
Wow.
That's and I was spellbound with that album. I have to mention the second one because I bought that shortly after, and that was Peace of Mind with Iron Maiden. That was also those two albums I used to listen to forever.
I mean, some people come on this podcast and start small and then they get big, like, I bought a small album, like a local band, and then I started to get into small bands. You're like, boom, straight away, like huge, massive albums that must have changed your life.
Oh, definitely. And just listening to Peace of Mind and, for those about rock, the way they sound and still sound when you put it on the turntable, it's you can easily say they aged very well.
Stood the test of time, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And more than that, I would say. If you listen to modern production, you put on, it's like some productions you can play really loud, and some productions, when you play them loud, they will crap themselves. But these albums won't.
So live music changed for me. I saw Green Day as one of my first ever gigs, and I came away from that gig thinking I want to pick up a guitar, I want to be in a band, I wanted to be successful like Green Day. Obviously it didn't happen, otherwise I'd be on the main stage tonight. But I wondered, were you lucky with your first ever gig? I mean, your first CDs were absolutely amazing, your vinyls there, AC/DC, huge. But I wondered, did you have a really good introduction to live music?
Yeah, apart from like local bands and stuff, the first big show I went to, hard rock show, metal show, was Kiss Animalized tour, when they took the makeup off.
That's insane.
Or a couple, the album I have to look it up. Which was, I remember it was kind of I was 10 years old, so I was standing on a stool, and this big fellow knocked me down because I was apparently in his way or something. I was a little kid, hey Kiss, and like this guy just punched me down.
That's amazing.
I was terrified.
Kiss know how to put on a show. Like, it isn't just a music performance. You get the theatre, you get the sound, you get the lights, you usually get pyro. Did that make you come home that night thinking, I one day want to try and do what they're doing? Or was it later on?
No, I was into playing guitar already then.
Already, yeah.
So, but I didn't really start practicing a lot until I was about 14. That's when I started playing like 8 hours a day.
That's amazing.
So that's because I saw Michael Schenker on TV, and I loved his tone. And also, that was the time when the first Yngwie Malmsteen album came out, Rising Force, which was a big thing when I grew up. There were so many guitar players living on the same street, and everybody was competing with each other, which was probably a good thing. It was a
healthy competition.
We didn't have the screens and the tablets.
No.
Which probably helped.
Was it all by ear?
Yeah, in the beginning, absolutely.
And that's important because it teaches you then scales, chords, progression.
Yeah, I mean, you
can't rely on tablature.
After a while, you start buying instructional videos, like Paul Gilbert's first one, for instance, was a very good one, and so a bit of both,
I mean, 8 hours a day, that's a hardcore dedication to wanting to be a successful guitarist. Did you realize at that point that hopefully that would lead to being in a band, be successful? Because a lot of people might say... That
was my goal from
day one?
I really knew what I wanted to do since I was about 14, I would guess.
Yeah.
So, or maybe earlier, actually.
So did you have to convince people like family that would be a real job, or did they not take it seriously?
I had to convince my father because I quit school after 9th grade because I just wanted to focus on playing. And he said, you have up till you're 18, then you have to go back to school.
Wow.
So I started working at a factory to buy my first Marshall amps, and which I did. And actually my dad worked there on the office. So, but when I was 19, I got the gig with a pretty big Swedish band called Talisman.
Yeah. With
Jeff Scott Soto, American singer. So, and at the time, they were quite big, so I could make a living of it. So I was like, Dad, I made it.
And was that enough for him to convince that you didn't need to go and get a proper job in an office? He was like, son, you've proved.
No, he was very supportive, actually, and I'm grateful for that. He passed away 2020, so thanks, Dad.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm lucky in that sense. Probably other kids had it more difficult to convince their parents, you know.
Yeah. So when Opeth started, did you have any kind of ideas of how successful you wanted to be, or was it just not even a thing where you tried to just have fun and enjoy and see wherever it's taking you?
Yeah, it was more, I mean, the goal was just to be able to do it for a living.
Yeah.
Not becoming a, you know, multimillionaire or anything like that.
No.
Just for the fun of it, and yeah, to rock out.
That's amazing. I mean, the fact you've been in the industry for so long, you come to a festival here as legends, people call you legends.
Oh, really?
Do you think it's because you've never lost that kind of hunger and kind of pride to do well?
Yeah, I think that could be one of the ingredients. I mean, I'm still hungry to develop as a player, you know, and I still want to do stuff. Some people might get satisfied with their bag of tricks, but I find it thriving and interesting that you can always become better
Yeah.
at what we do, and shouldn't settle for less. That's my motto, at least.
So when you come to a festival like Download, seasoned pros now, you come on stage, you put on a show, do you have to think about it, or does your mind take you into an autopilot mode where you can just perform, or are you always conscious about wanting to put the best show on, or is your mind just so in tune with the crowd that you can just do it without even thinking now?
Well, I'm always still a bit nervous before going on stage. I guess that can be a healthy thing.
I think it makes you work.
It
hard.
also makes, if you had too many beers the day before, it's going to be a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
With the nerves and everything like that, but it's always it's a classic saying, but you're never better than your last show.
I love that saying.
I think it's really true. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're telling us we've got a minute left, so I've got one final question for you. When I get this podcast out there for the world to listen to, what I really want to do is have a piece of music that you love play after our interview. So it can be any song by any band that means a lot to you. But when the interview goes out there, I'll play some Opeth, we'll have our interview, and then a piece of music plays directly afterwards. And it's because I gave you the opportunity to choose a song that means a lot to you. So I know I'm putting you on the spot, I know it's not easy, but is there a song that you absolutely love and adore that you want to be played at the end of today's interview?
Black Sabbath with Black Sabbath.
Fucking incredible tune. Are you going to the shows in July?
No, we're out playing. But a friend of mine is playing Tobias from Ghost.
Yeah.
So he's going to perform with them. But
my friend Tobias from Ghost, you know.
Yeah, well, you know I play on their albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyhow, so it might have been possible to get a ticket through him, but might have been, I don't know. But
if you want to ask him and then give it to me, that'd be cool, I don't mind. If you want to be like, can I have a ticket? And he's like, yeah, okay. And then you're like, oh, I can't do it, so I'll give it to my friend Mark.
Yeah, I'll
look
into
awesome.
that. Yeah, sure.
Thank you for coming on the podcast today. Good luck with everything.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. And when the future's good and we've got more time, let's sit down and do a much bigger deep dive on music, because 10 minutes is great. I'm really grateful, but I feel that me and you could talk for a good hour.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm up for it.
Thank you very much again.
My pleasure.
Let's get a photo.
Cheers.